Hello, a very, very warm welcome to the first Teacher Educator Community online symposium. My name is John Shackleton, and I'm going to start off the proceedings today. I'm going to talk a little bit about the members of the community who's with us today. I'm going to talk a little bit about the concept of the community, how it's developed over time, some of the things that we've done so far, and finally to have a look at today's program. So without further ado, while I'm talking through who's with us today, if you could use the question and answer option to give us a shout out, to tell us your name and where you are from. So we've got teacher educators with us today who've been working together in their small groups from different countries. We've got teacher educators who are engagement leads who've been working with those small groups, and they're from many different countries around the world. We've got teacher educators who will be sharing their thoughts and expertise and insights around aspects to do with communities of practice and working in groups. We've got Tony Capstick, Beverly and Etienne Wenger-Trainer, Alan Maley. We've got British Council colleagues from around the world who will be joining and talking to us a little bit about their communities of practice and the place of those communities of practice within their country-based programs. A little bit about then the concept of what we're doing. We're aiming for a vibrant and sustainable, professionalized network and community of teacher educators that's going to be relevant to teacher educators who have different roles, who are working in different settings. And what we do is developed in collaboration with the members of the community. That's the basic concept. And through the community, through the network, we'd like to provide teacher educators and help them to develop access to relevant insight and resources. We're interested in encouraging teacher educators to become involved in professional exchange. We have learning pathways and qualifications that are available for members of the community and the network. We'd like to help and support teachers who would like to become teacher educators, and overall we'd like to contribute to the professionalization of the teacher educator role. A little bit now about the distinction that we make between the network and the community. So the network, we use that word to talk about a very broad audience of teacher educators. And we have certain activities and resources for that broad audience, all of which are delivered through the Teaching English website, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. So we have a webinar program, as many of you know, a newsletter, lots of resources. And we'll talk about those resources in a bit more detail towards the end of the day. That's the network then. So for that broad audience of teacher educator community, teacher educators from all over the world. And then within that network, we use the word community to talk about a collaborative learning and exchange space. This symposium, for example, is organized exclusively for that closed learning and exchange space. And in that exchange space, we have started groups. So we have teacher activity group facilitators from Egypt and Palestine. We have community of practice leaders from Libya. We've got ACT and LPACT, their qualifications and learning courses. And that's made up of groups of teacher educators from Vietnam, from Ethiopia, from Nigeria, from Sri Lanka. We have a group of e-moderators from Sri Lanka, And of course, we have a group of engagement leads. So we'll be hearing today from all of those small groups that make up our community. A little bit about the principles then of what we're doing. So we've constituted groups, we've encouraged the growth of groups amongst people who've got shared roles. So for example, they are teacher activity group facilitators, or they're e-moderators, or they're community of practice leaders. So they've got a very similar role and also a very similar purpose, or a shared purpose, in the sense that they are working together to find common solutions to common problems, for example. Another important principle in the development of the community and the groups within that community is the idea of a collaborative output. And we'll be hearing from members of the groups that I've been talking about those collaborative outputs that they've been working on. So for example, the e-moderator group from Sri Lanka, they've been working on a guide for novice e-moderators. So a collaborative output is a resource that the group works on together and provides a focus, if you like, for their collaborative exchange and learning. Another principle is the idea of distributed leadership, by which we mean the idea that the community is run by the members for the members. So we'll be talking a little bit about that towards the end of the day, about how members of the community can get involved, get involved in the development of the community, in the management of the community. And finally, and I think one thing that that the pandemic, I think, has brought into sharp focus is and we'll be talking a lot about this for the rest of the day, about the importance of connection. So the importance of feeling a sense of belonging to a group that's established in a safe and trusting environment, and as a way of mitigating a sense of isolation that I'm sure that many of us felt during the pandemic, but in general, about the importance of connection and connecting to like-minded colleagues in a particular environment that's characterized by safety and trust. So there's some of the principles that have driven our work so far and will help to guide our work in the future. Okay, so just a little bit of more detail, if I can then, about the things that we have done so far then in our support for teacher educators across the world. So we have a monthly webinar program, which is part of the network of resources, part of the resources for the network. So it's open to all teacher educators wherever they're based. We have a newsletter which provides more information about our webinar program in particular. We have some resources that we have mapped and curated. One of the things that we feel that we can contribute to, there's a lot of information, a lot of resources out there for teachers and for teacher educators. So what we've done is that we've brought those together in a coherent way and provided pathways through them. We also have a wide range of publications as well, directly relevant to the work of teacher educators. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, as many of you will know, we have a new CPD framework and a new self-assessment tool for teacher educators, which helps teacher educators organize their learning, plan their learning, decide which areas they might like to focus on in particular, and also importantly, coming back to the curated resources, find the kind of resources and learning opportunities that will help them meet their development needs. So that's available, publicly available through the Teaching English website, and we'll talk in detail later on today about these different resources. That's available for teacher educators wherever they are. So the community, and as I was saying before, the community is made up of small groups of teacher educators who are working and learning together in small groups. So what have we done to facilitate this? Well, we've built a community space. We have a platform, a home, if you like, for teacher educators to go to in order to collaborate and learn together. We've developed a cadre of facilitators, which we call engagement leads. And the engagement leads, who we'll be hearing from today, their role is to help the teacher educators within these small groups within the community to shape their learning, their exchange, the collaborative outputs they're working on. We've invited British Council colleagues, again, we'll be hearing from them today, to join the community, because what we're aiming to do is that the members of the community are in some way connected to the British Council in a particular country. They may be working on particular programs that the British Council is running. So they're, if you like, the third partner of this endeavor of teacher educators from different countries who are working in small groups. We have engagement leads who are working with those teacher educators, and we have our British Council colleagues who are advising and guiding that work and that exchange, and integrating it into what they are doing through their country programs in country. And this symposium that we've organized today, we started about 4 or 5 months ago with our work, and we decided to organize this symposium to create an opportunity for all of those different groups that I've been talking about to come together today to discuss and to share and reflect on the work that we've all been doing, and to talk a little bit about their experience so far. We're a learning organization, we're a learning community, so we're very interested, of course, to understand what collectively our experience has been, and to build on that to develop stronger and deeper connection. Okay, so that was all I wanted to say about the work that we've done so far and some of the opportunities that are available, and to talk a little bit about the concepts and the principles that have guided our work so far. What I'd like to do now is to turn our attention to today's program. We've got a fantastic program for you. That's me, 8 o'clock to 8:20. So you've heard what I've said. So that's the start of the program. And it would be good if you could think about some of the things that we've spoken about in this first session as we move through the program, particularly, I think, in respect of the role of the group. That, in a sense, is what we're all about. And it's the if you like, the theme for today's symposium. So to think about how you might derive benefit from connecting to other people, how you can contribute to those kinds of connections. So to keep that in mind, the community, the idea of the community of practice, the idea of the group, does it work for you? And how do you get benefit out of it? Tony Capstick will be with us in about 6 minutes. Okay. And he'll be talking about groups and about connecting with specific reference to contexts which are very challenging, which are very difficult, which are conflictual, and how those groups have helped to mitigate some of the problems that the members of the group are experiencing in particular situations. Then we're going to be hearing from all of the teacher educators who are part of our small groups. They'll be talking about their experiences, about the collaborative outputs, about what they've been working on, what they've been doing over the last few months since they first came together. And we've got 2 sessions like that. So that's an opportunity for those teacher educators to talk about what they've been doing, but also to get insight from other teacher educators from other groups to see what they've been doing and to ask questions and answer questions about those things. Then it's the engagement leads who will be joining us at 10:15, and we'll be hearing from Doina and Nelson, Suzanne and Zhenya. Many of you, of course, will know them, and they'll be talking about their experiences of working with small groups since we began our initiative. Okay. Then Beverly and Etienne Wenger-Trainer, they'll be talking about the essentials of sustainable online communities of practice. So that'll be an opportunity, in a sense, to bring together some thinking, some theory and some practice and some ingredients of successful communities of practice. That's going to be an interview, so plenty of opportunities there for you to ask questions. And on the asking questions front, if you do have a question that you would like to ask during the Q&A elements of some of these sessions, then please do raise your hand and we'll get the microphone to you, so you'll be able to ask your question in person. If you prefer, perhaps like me, to ask your questions in a written form, of course, as I was saying at the beginning, you'll be able to use the Q&A option. Then some more presentations from our groups of teacher educators. Really interesting. I was having a look at some of the recordings they've made, some of the collaborative outputs they've produced. Really very interesting work that they've been working on. Interesting, relevant, and useful. And then it'll be an opportunity for our country-based colleagues from the British Council, Julia, Ala, Davide, and Leslie, who'll be talking about how communities of practice, how they function in their countries as a mechanism for promoting good continuing professional development for teachers and teacher educators. We'll be having breaks as well. It's not all work, so we'll be taking time out for breaks and bit of fresh air as well, of course. Then we're going to come towards the end of the program, towards the end of the day, and we'll be talking a little bit about the future. Ellen and Sharon and myself will be answering some questions from Gary Mottram about what we're planning to do in the next stages of this development. And then at the end, if we're all sitting comfortably, then Alan Maley is going to talk through some of his experiences, which are wide and various, of working in groups, of setting up groups, and he's going to be talking about some of the ingredients that have made those successful and some of the challenges that have made them less successful. So a fantastic way to finish today's proceedings. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say. At any time, if you want to share your thoughts, then there are 2 options. Then there's in the session, which we'd like you to focus on. And if you have some general thoughts, then as many of you will know, in the lobby chat, you can put those thoughts and reflections in there for general consumption. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly have a look at the Q&A. Thank you very much for everybody who's given their shout out today. I can see many friends here, Rabia and Ellen, Mohammed, Lankesh, Tatiana, Tony is here. That's good. That's always good news. And colleagues from Qatar, Amina is here. So as you can see, a wide variety of colleagues and teacher educators from around the world. Great. Thank you very much indeed. I'm now going to hand over to Tony Capstick, and we're going to leave this particular session now. So in order to join the next session, all you need to do is to click on the join button relating to session number 2, Tony Capstick, the connection and resilience, a global perspective on how communities come together for mutual support. So we'll see you in a few seconds in the next session. Thank you.